So I think we good to start. Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar about stop wasting time with ServiceNow. This is going to be the last webinar of this year. The next webinar series is going to start in March next year. My name is Boris Meurs. I'm CEO and founder of ERM4SN. I started my ServiceNow career in 2009 and was part of a project where we had to migrate ServiceNow, and Maximo CMDB into ServiceNow, which was quite difficult to do because we had about 400 CI tables. And that analyzing this CI structure in Maximo and ServiceNow was quite time-consuming. So I had that idea of why not develop a tool to solve this. This is what I'm going to present you today. What is ERM4SN? ERM4SN stands for Entity Relationship Model for ServiceNow, and is a tool which runs outside of ServiceNow and connects to the ServiceNow schema tables via REST API. The schema information then is stored in its local database, and this serves as a source to visualize the data model. So literally, you can easily browse CI structure, tables, applications, scopes, etc. All quite easy in the UI of ERM4SN. So developers, third-party application owners, or guys who have to integrate with ServiceNow can easily collect all information from ERM4SN, versus if you have to do this in ServiceNow, it's going to be quite challenging. So how? We have 3 use cases for you today. We're going to talk about data integration with ServiceNow and how ERM4SN can simplify your lives here. We analyze the schema, and we plan a platform upgrade, which is also something which is common to be complex in ServiceNow. So data integration. The requirement is we have to integrate with the reporting application. So that application wants to consume data from ServiceNow. Now the question is, where is this data located in ServiceNow? And this can be quite complex if you need to do this without any additional tools. So one has to go to the data dictionary, collect the information there. To do that, one needs to have admin permissions. So this is not something which can be done by a BA or so. So it's quite time consuming to do that. With ERM4SN, it's super easy, because as it does all the work for you behind the scenes, you can easily browse the schema, look up the tables, the attributes, etc., and you get an overview of how an application or a table is structured in ServiceNow. This is an example of a view. I'm going to give a demo later. So we display the table hierarchy, the application scopes, etc., all in a nice UI form. Then to our second use case, to analyze the schema. So if one needs to gather insights about the ServiceNow internal structure, similar to the use case before, if it's more than one table, it's almost impossible to get an idea of how these all link together. So if you want to have a graphical representation of table relationships, attributes, etc., it's a no-go. There are some ways to browse this in ServiceNow. Still also requires admin permissions, but the information is quite poor. With EM4SN, you can browse an application scope. You can jump between tables, follow relationships, get a better understanding about who changed what. And we can also export this as a diagram. So you can use Enterprise Architect or Draw.io to play with design with existing diagrams, use this as a baseline for new development, or also use this for reporting purposes. This looks like this. So this is an example of a diagram of a table. I'm going to demo this later to you in details. By the way, all the demo I gave, all the screenshots here are from our demo instance. If you want to have a look at it, go to demo.em4sn.com. You can browse all the features. It contains data from 3 personal development instances. So you're invited to have a look at that later on. So, and then the platform upgrade. So what is the business impact on the platform upgrade? How many records, table, etc. have changed between 2 versions of ServiceNow? And to analyze this on beforehand, so before upgrading the instance and then have a look at conflicts, etc., almost impossible. Very difficult to do. So people most of the time clone production and then do an upgrade there and then have a look what has changed. With EM4SN, comparison of multiple ServiceNow version takes seconds. You get a report, nice colored report with what tables, what fields have changed or different. So you can easily track this. The UI of this representation is like this here. So here we compare 2 versions and we see with the color indicated fields which have a different length or a different type, etc. So super easy to get an idea of your changes or the platform upgrade changes. So let's do a demo. Let's head over to the ERM instance. So this is, as I told you, the demo, public demo. You can do the same thing as I do here. Here we have a view at the tables. We show scopes and apps, columns. You can browse all the information here easily. In this session here, I want to focus on, first we do data integration. Let's say we want to have an integration on the Linux CI table. So we can search for this here. So we do Linux server. So here on this page, we get all the information about that table. So we see the inheritance structure. So this is how ServiceNow works behind the scenes. We see if there are siblings or subclasses, etc., all in one view. And here we find all the information about all the columns of that table. So if you want to integrate this table with a third-party application or one wants to create a report on this table, this is an easy way to get an understanding about the columns, the data type, if they come from if they reference to link to another table, and which table literally introduce this field, because we have this inheritance. So that means all the fields which sit on C and B are inherited down to the leaf table, which is the Linux server here. So if you want to share the information to a third-party application, what fields you have, that would be a starting point. We also indicate changes on fields. We indicate which field is a display value. We indicate which field is the key, and so on. Here, further down, Not super relevant for data integration, but as we are here on this page, we see the distribution of the table. It is in all the 3 instances here in place, which are loaded into the tool. But they're not all the same. So some fields are missing or some fields are different. So we could follow here to get a report for that as well. We also see tables which reference this table back. And we have this famous diagram at the bottom here where we can easily click and zoom and get an understanding about the table. So this is Linux server, which has no reference fields and extends cluster, etc. So this is a starting point to get an idea about the structure of the table. So now the nice thing about that is if you want to create a document for the third-party application who wants to integrate, you can download this as an Excel sheet. I have prepared this already. And then this is how it looks like. So you get an extract of what we see here, all the fields, all the information, super easy. Took not even a second to do that. And you can remove columns, mark columns which are relevant for the data integration, use this as a baseline to communicate this with third-party apps. Super easy. Lot of time saved while using this approach. So let's move on. We have we want to know about the internal data structure. So here, let's say we use APM. It's an application portfolio manager, has 26 tables. So one wants to extend this APM application with additional functionality, etc. So if one needs to have a better understanding how the dots are linked together, this would be an entry point, for example, for APM. We see all the tables. We also see all the records, the files which are part of the scope. So this has nothing to do primarily with the schema of the application, but more how many components it contains. And here at the bottom, we have a diagram. And this diagram shows us the structure of APM, of the application. We can also make this bigger. We can zoom. There's a way to shift click, and then we have we show relationships which point to that, so it's easier to understand the path, etc. To another table, and we also can download this diagram and import it, for example, into IO. And this is how it looks like if you do that. And now one can go and design, extend this as you like. You can say, I want to add functionality, design it here first. No need to literally copy paste something from ServiceNow or create a VCR diagram manually. Everything is done for you automatically. And you can use this as baseline for extending an application, documenting an application, share information with others, or also onboarding new team members. They get an easy understanding about how an application or even a customization is structured in ServiceNow. So this is to the use case number 2. There is also a possibility to create an individual diagram. Here in this individual diagram, we only have a bunch of tables which we want to see, whereas in the app example, we saw all the tables which belong to that scope, the application scope. The same if we go to a table itself, we see the inheritance of the table, which is so that the entry point is either the scope or the table, where here we can create a diagram which contains additional tables which you need to have in your report, etc. So easily collect tables, add them to the diagram which you need to have, download the file. It is file format is PDF, PNG, Draw.io, and Enterprise Architect, XML format. Super easy to do. this is a super time saver. We have customers who need this functionality heavily because this helps you to import, let's say, a CI structure into Enterprise Architect within seconds. By the way, if you have questions, please use the Q&A feature of Zoom. I will answer your questions later. So now, platform upgrade. This is one of my favorite features of ERM4SN. So what we have here, we loaded all the metadata from those 3 instances into this demo version here. I have to say they don't have all the same plugins, etc. enabled. That's why the report here is not 100% correct in terms of you can use this for your own projects because this is how Vanilla, Tokyo, and San Diego are different. Real use case is connected to your enterprise version of ServiceNow, connected to your let's say upgraded dev version of ServiceNow, compare it, or use a vanilla instance of the new version of ServiceNow, install your apps on top, and then you have 2 good baselines which can be compared. So here we have the possibility to only compare tables, so what tables have been added or removed. We can do the same thing on columns as well. And we also can do it on the column attribute. So has the length changed, has the type changed, etc. And if you do this, we compare San Diego with Tokyo. And we get this report here. So this is a list of fields, field attributes, columns and tables, which are different between those 2 instances. So we have tables which are missing completely. We have fields which are missing. We have fields which are different. So this question field is 255 versus 512. And this report shows on one page all the gaps between 2 ServiceNow versions. Took a second to load. You can download this as an Excel sheet as well. Excel sheet follows the same color codes, and share this with your team or platform architects. Super easy to do, good time saver. There is no such functionality in the market. No other tools do this. ServiceNow has no support for that. So this is key functionality of ERM4SN. With that said, let's go back to the slides. Let's see. Yeah. So we covered some of the features. ERM4SN has more than those. We covered table structure, inheritance, and relationship. We covered application structure. I talked a little bit about UML. Then there is the way to have a deeper look at the table and the distribution, and if columns are different across multiple instances. I was covering this a little bit. Then we also have change history. So we display every time we load the data, we never delete. So we always know what has been changed in the past. We can support platform upgrades by the report, which I just showed you. We can do consistency checks. So are there fields having, let's say, a Boolean, but the Boolean is 500 characters long, kind of stupid for a Boolean. We can do these as well. We can compare instances. We have also a release feature, so we can compare between 2 versions of ServiceNow, but we also can compare between 2 timestamps of ServiceNow. We have a customer who needs exactly that feature. So they always ship a new version of their extension for ServiceNow and then use that report, the release comparison, to display what fields they have introduced since the last version. We have some schema health functionality, which shows you how many columns are customized or extended on an out-of-the-box application. And of course, you can download everything as an Excel sheet. So the takeaways of this session is ERM for SN, super easy to use. It sits there, runs in the cloud, supports single sign-on for your team. It connects to ServiceNow behind the scenes. You can load into the instance multiple ServiceNow instances, versions. It creates diagrams, super easy, one-click exports, very handy. So there is no admin required, so it's a lot of time saving. The normal process is either you make a BA or so an admin, which is maybe not a good idea, or the BA always have to ask admins to extract data from ServiceNow. So give me the structure of the CI Linux table, or there is a relationship to another table. Give me the extraction of that as well, etc. Very time consuming with the ERM4SN, one click. And everyone is on the same page. So all your team members have access to the same information. You can share this information as well with external, maybe teams in your company. So all have access to the same information. No need for admin. No need to understand ServiceNow head to toe to extract this data. So we are partnering with Boston & Partner. ERM4SN is distributed in Europe by Boston & Partner. They also do body leasing, so they have a huge list of professionals in case of if you need support for your ServiceNow development or other IT-related business, you can also reach out to them. Very nice guys, I have to say. This is us. Hans-Peter Himmel, CEO of Boston & Partner, and Udo Jäger, which is our product ambassador. If you have any questions about this presentation, or you want to know more about our product, please reach out to one of us. That's it for today. Thank you very much for joining this session. Do we have any questions? I don't see. Okay, good. In that case, thank you very much. See you next year.